Good morning, Wake Up Lapeer, on this bright sunny morning. Welcome to our chamber breakfast. We're going to get started. If I could please remind you to turn off your cell phones because it affects the microphone, okay? I'd like to welcome everybody, and I'd like to welcome Pastor Jeff Wells from Faith Christian Family Church for our invocation. Finally.
Good morning. Let's pray this morning. Father, we thank you for this time together, and thank you for this sun. Thank you for how beautiful it's been and how beautiful it is. And Lord, I just thank you for blessing each and every business that's represented here and those that aren't. Thank you for bringing new business to the city. Lord, it's been awesome. Thank you that we also are declaring, and I'm declaring, Lord, that every building be full in this city. Lord, that this is a thriving city. Thank you for blessing each person, even that's in this town, and what they're doing. Thank you for blessing our municipalities and helping them, our judges and our mayor. Lord, I thank you for guidance in every situation. And we just bless and honor you today as we do this. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor Wells. Okay, my name is Cindy Schlout. I'm with AAA in Carroll, and I would like to welcome Desiree Longdragon. She's going to fill in for Nita this morning with the Chamber News.
Thank you, Cindy, and good morning, everyone. Do you feel like you're in a new place today? Yeah. I'm so thrilled with phase one of our renovation, and so is our VP, Scott Jenkins. He was so impressed that he decided to move up phase two, and we're going to start phase two in just a couple of weeks. So before our students come back, they're going to be wowed when they walk in the door, because this truly is a much-needed improvement, and the feedback that we've got so far has been awesome. So anyways, so as you see, Nita was unable to be here today, but she did want me to thank you all for coming out this morning and participating in this event. First of all, I don't know whether you noticed, but we have some new cooks in the kitchen, I guess, and we'd like to welcome our new catering company, Brent's Barbecue and Catering. It looks great. I don't know if Brent's here. Is Brent here? I guess not. Brent and Jackie have been catering various events and parties in the Lapeer County for several years. Brent has been a vendor at Lapeer Days for several years, serving his mouth-watering barbecues, and will be returning to the festival this year after a 3-year hiatus. We can't wait, so please, again, welcome him. Networking at noon. Thank you, Jane and Tony Abruzos, for a great lunchtime each month when you host it. We had wonderful food, wow, and what great networking took place there for chamber members. Upcoming dates are August 5th at the Farmhouse Family Restaurant and September 17th at Sidetracks Bar and Grill. We are beginning to schedule our next series of network lunches, and we'll be posting the new schedule in the September newsletter. Email reminders will be sent out for the August date as for each other month too. The Chamber would also like to thank all the companies who provided financial support for our annual fireworks show and also their sponsorship in Lapeer Days. We appreciate your support because without it, we would not be able to present our community with these wonderful events. And just an update on Lapeer Days, it's ramping up now with great new entertainment, a new exotic animal show, a women's and children's interactive self-defense demonstration. Our children's sandbox is going to be twice the size this year as it was last year. We have Lapeer East and West Robotics team presenting a variety of kiddie carnival games on the courthouse lawn this year. And it's important to note that every child will win a prize. So moms and dads, grandpas and grandmas, aunts and uncles, you don't have to worry about the crying kids on the way home because they didn't win something. We also have 3 stages of nonstop entertainment, as always. Lots of new and many of our annual favorites will be back. Lots of wonderful food, merchandise, and of course our famous Lapeer Days Parade. Wild, Wild West is the theme this year, and we encourage businesses to dress and design your floats around that theme. So get out the cowboy hats and dust off the cowboy boots and get them ready for the parade. We'd like to welcome our new chamber member, Mike Higgins, and I know Mike is here. Where are you at, Mike? Mike here, yay. Mike is with, he's the former judge. He's retired, and I think his replacement's here too. Lucky us for having Byron here this morning. Mike has opened up Mid-Michigan Mediation, mediation of legal disputes ranging from contract disputes, employment disputes, property issues, insurance claims, as well as custody and estate disputes. So again, welcome, Mike. Thank you to our renewing members, orthodontic specialist, Computer County 2 LCC, Evergreen Storage, Churches Builder, Walmart, Missy Maids LCC, Animal Medical Center of Lapeer, the Bodos, Physical Therapy, Michigan Eye Institute, Lapeer and Upper Thumb Association of Realtors, Blue Water Printing, H&H Tool Incorporated, Lapeer County Deputies Association, and Exit Realty Group. Thank you again for your renewals. Wake Up Lapeer sponsors. We need more Wake Up Lapeer sponsors each month. We need to have at least 4 to continue to offer this event to you and our community. This event is a vital part of our membership and shares important information with the community about your businesses, about what's going on in the community, and it provides education about our guest speakers, and this is done through television, print media, and social network. And we can't operate it and cover our related costs without sponsors. So again, in the future, contact the chamber for that. We want you to know that sponsorship is very reasonable and offers you a great package to promote your business in the local newspaper prior to and after the event, here at the event, on local cable television, YouTube, Facebook, and includes registration fees. Please contact, again, the Chamber office for more information or visit our website. We'd like to thank the following individuals who helped us and the staff at the Poker Palace room. It's a fundraiser, as you know. Charles Mitchell, Fixed Glass, John LeClaire, Ross Automotive, Ray Davis, Davis Land Surveying, Joy Ventiline, Stone Soup Food Pantry, Mike Newell, Service Pro of Lapeer, Corey Deering, Lapeer Days Committee, Janet Engelman, Capella Heating and Air Conditioning, Pam Wagner, Lapeer Area Wedding Showcase, Chair Gary Dixon, Cavalli's Eatery and Spirits, and Katie Crane, Security Federal Credit Union. Thank you all.
I'd like to welcome is Patricia Lucas. She's with our Lapeer Development Corporation.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Patricia Lucas with Lapeer Development Corporation, and today I'm going to talk about the I-69 International Trade Corridor next Michigan Development Corporation. But before I do that, I wanted to tell you just a little bit about Lapeer Development Corporation, which is my real job. I'm the Executive Director of the Countywide Economic Development Office, and our job is to assist private businesses with the creation of new jobs and investment in Lapeer County to enhance the economy. So we've been here since 1981. I haven't been here that long, but close. And we have the pleasure of working with the communities in Lapeer County as well as the private sector. Most of my time I spend working with manufacturing and high-tech oriented businesses. We do some commercial businesses, but not as many. We tend to focus on businesses that create economic-based jobs. But today I'm going to talk about the I-69 International Trade Corridor. Do I have to point it at that, or no? Okay. Several years ago, the governor introduced this Next Michigan Development Corporation concept, and Genesee County reached out to us and said, we'd really like to do this, would you be interested? In order to implement the concept, you need to have assets more than just I-69. I-69 is really important. It's been very important to the growth of Lapeer County, and I'm sure you all love it because it allows you to get east to west pretty quickly on a really good road. But Bishop International Airport was the main crux of why this entity was created. So they reached out to Lapeer County as well as Shiawassee County and St. Clair County to create this entity. So it consists of St. Clair, Lapeer, Genesee, and Shiawassee counties. At the time that we did it, it's hard when this is behind me because I'm not sure it's where I am. We reached out to communities along the corridor. Actually, everybody in Lapeer County was invited to participate. It has a pure economic development focus. One of the things that we're able to do with the Next Michigan Development Corporation concept is to leverage state support for businesses with programs that we wouldn't otherwise be able to utilize. It's definitely a collaborative effort. When we approached the state and said what we wanted to do and how many communities were involved, they were in shock because they have never seen a collaboration this big with this many communities involved that all wanted to work together for the common good of the region, because we really hadn't done regional economic development before. Other than, we've been involved with the Workforce Development Board in Marlette for, since Lapeer Development was created, but we really hadn't done a lot of regional economic development. We also provide a statewide transportation and distribution strategy that we're working closely with the state on. And then we work on other programs, and I'm going to talk about that in a few minutes. There is a multimodal focus, so in case you don't know all the modes of transportation, they're air, water, highway, and rail. Again, Bishop International Airport was a big part of this, and I'll talk more about why that's so important in a little while. Water, we need access to deep water ports, including the Halifax deep water port. I don't know if all of you know this, but most of the products that are imported into this country go through Halifax, and we're trying to change that a little bit and maybe have more of that come through Port Huron. I-69 is extremely important to us in Lapeer County, but in the other counties, especially St. Clair and Genesee, they have some other interstates that run through there, including I-75, 94, and then US 23. And rail, we don't work a lot with rail, but we're hoping to do more of that as this project progresses. We have a great line that runs through Lapeer. If you ever get caught at, when the train's going through about 1 o'clock, that there's a lot of commerce being transported down that railroad, and we're hoping to have more. It is a double stack line, which there aren't lots of those in the country, so that's another great thing that they're able to transport more products. This is a map of the communities. So in Lapeer County, I'm not going to list all 35. There are 35 communities that are part of this. But in Lapeer County, the county itself is part of the program, as well as the village of Almont, Attica Township, Imlay City, the city of Lapeer, Lapeer Township, and the village of North Branch. Again, we invited everybody, but it made the most sense for communities that are either near the corridor or communities that have business parks because of the incentives that are provided. Shiawassee County has the most, I think they have 10. But the interesting part of this board is that the city manager of the city of Lapeer, Dale Curbison, has the same voting power as the mayor of the city of Flint. Everybody has one vote, so it works out really well. The next picture is when we had our big signing ceremony. So that was kind of a cool thing when all the communities were there when this program was put into place. The objectives of the program are to increase awareness of the corridor, promote regional assets of the Next Michigan Development Corporation. We are documenting and showcasing our business strengths, highlighting the positive business climate that we have here. I will say that the communities in Lapeer County are very pro-business, and it makes my job a lot easier, you know, when they're very supportive of new business coming in or businesses that we have that want to expand. We're trying to identify local expansion, national and international attraction projects, as well as document wins, so we want people to know what we're doing. And when Lapeer County joined this, the intent of the Lapeer Development Corporation Board and the county was, we may not get all the projects, we may get some of the projects, but one of the really important keys to the project is branding the county as part of the I-69 International Trade Corridor, because we felt that that would be a really good way to sell the community and encourage businesses to locate here. And we are truly enhancing regional collaboration among the service providers. So every Wednesday I have a conference call with my counterparts in the other counties, and we strategize on what we're going to be doing next. We're trying to support investment in new jobs. In order for a business to be eligible, they have to be within one of those participating municipalities. So each of the communities signed what's called an interlocal agreement, and it's for 25 years. But if they want out, they can get out. They don't have to stay in 25 years because they have to pay to play, basically. There's a participation cost. So if they want out, they have 6 months to say, I want to get out of this. But so far, everybody's wanted to stay in. A firm, in order to be eligible for the incentives, has to utilize at least 2 modes of transportation. So the first project that we did, they utilized both highway and rail. So it doesn't say what percentage, it's just that they have to utilize more than one mode of transportation. And the project has to result in new growth. It can't be an in-state relocation. The incentives that are available are a 50% tax abatement, and you may read about those in the newspaper because there are a lot of those that are approved in Lapeer County, where a business, if they're investing in new real or personal property and they're creating jobs, communities can grant them a tax abatement in exchange for those jobs created. But one of the things that's new is 100% personal property tax abatement, which in Lapeer County, only the city of Lapeer could do that before. But to date, none of that had happened in this county. And then the last incentive is a tax-free Renaissance zone. In the corridor, we're allowed to set up 12 Renaissance zones. So imagine we have 35 communities and 12 of them get zones. So the way a Renaissance zone works is that a business that locates in the zone doesn't pay any taxes, basically, in exchange for the jobs that they create and how much they stimulate the economy. So in Lapeer County, the only 2 communities that wanted to establish Renaissance zones were the village of Elmont and the city of Imlay City. And what's going through the state right now, it hasn't been approved yet, it still has to be approved by the Michigan Strategic Fund, is the property that's been designated for that purpose. We could have up to 1,675 acres within the entire 4-county region. Probably a third of it is on the Bishop International Airport property. So that tells you how important Bishop Airport is to our efforts. But we're hopeful, and we think that, you know, those will be approved very soon, hopefully still this summer. But most of what we spend our time on is regional marketing. You may have seen the sign, if you haven't noticed, when you drive on I-69 right before you get to Lake Nipissing Road. We have one of the billboards. The City of Lapeer's Local Development Finance Authority, which is the board that is responsible for the development of that industrial park, the Lapeer Industrial and Research Park, agreed to allow that sign to go up there instead of the sign that marketed the property for a period of time, which hasn't been determined. The I-69 corridor would like it to be indefinite, but I don't think that's going to happen. But just as a way to keep the message out there, you may have seen those signs in other places along the corridor, because there were several in Flint, Shiawassee County, and also in St. Clair County. So that's up. And the county entrance signs, we're hoping by the end of the summer, the I-69 International Trade Corridor will be placed on the bottom of the sign as you come into the county. So we're trying to get the message out as much as we possibly can. When you go into Bishop Airport, there's a banner that recognizes the corridor. So if you haven't flown lately or next time you fly out of there, look for it. So it's at the airport. And then when we go to trade shows, we have a tabletop booth that we're marketing. The next slide is just some demographics about the 4 counties. Just in case you don't know, I mean, we're the 3rd largest or 2nd to the smallest of the 4. Genesee County is by far the most populated and has more businesses, and then St. Clair, Lapeer, and then Shiawassee County. Some of the activities that we've been working on, a logistics development forum. I don't know if any of you have heard of the Center for Automotive Research, but they provide a lot of information about the automotive industry, and it's very, very interesting. They're actually going to be coming to an event that we're having in September, a regional summit, to give an update. The Inland Port Conference, Ohio Freight Conference, we participate in the International Economic Development Council. Believe it or not, people do what we do all over the world. Everybody wants new business and they want jobs in their communities. Design Institute Forum, Detroit Port Authority, we're trying to work more closely with the ports. And I don't do all this stuff, you know, we split it up because there's no way one person could do all of this. Most communities are out for that county, not necessarily for a region. And it's much easier for them to work with a region than a single county. And one of our assets we know in our area is agriculture, so we're trying to focus more on the Michigan agribusiness. They had a conference in Lansing in January where we hosted a bunch of agribusiness individuals or owners of businesses, and there's another one coming up in September that we're going to be participating in. Last fall, we had a regional summit in Flint. We had no idea how many people would come. We thought if we had 50, we'd be lucky. We had 250 come to the summit to learn more about what we're doing, and we were really pleased with how that came out. And we're planning another one for September 18th. And that's the people that are invited to that are primarily communities within the corridor as well as businesses. We had our first Exporter of the Year event back in February, and the company that won, I just want you to know, I didn't put this picture in here, someone else did. The company that won is from North Branch. It's called Kaiser Morris International, and they make equipment that basically takes old road and mills it, heats it back up, and then lays it back down. And they sell their equipment all over the world. So they're a small company, and they're growing, and they're continuing to grow, and they were very honored to receive that award. We had several companies from each county, you know, that submitted an application, but the company that was selected, it was because they have grown so much in their exporting, and that's really what we're focusing on, as well as letting companies know what exporting assistance is available, not only from the state, but there's a lot of assistance available from the U.S. Department of Commerce. And we want companies to be aware of that because when we export, it really stimulates our economy. The first project that went through the board, the next Michigan Development Corporation board, was for a company called Pinnacle Foods in Imlay City, but we all know them as Vlasic, and hopefully all of you eat lots of pickles. In that facility in Imlay City, they produce pickles, peppers, and relish for a variety of different customers, and they were eligible for the incentives through the next Michigan Development Corporation because they utilize 2 modes of transportation, both trucking and rail. I had no idea that 1/3 of their business is shipped via rail, which I thought was a great thing because I wish more people did that. The next Michigan Development Corporation board approved 100% personal property tax abatement for them. We were competing pretty heavily with a facility in Delaware, and I believe that that's what pushed it over the edge when we showed them with that incentive how much they would utilize in savings. They decided to come to Imlay City because we had no idea if we were going to win or not. The city of Imlay City does have input. I mean, all the communities in the county get the first say. They don't approve the project, but they recommend approval to the next Michigan Development Corporation. So if a community didn't want a project, it's not going to happen. So it has to be recommended locally before it goes to that board. That project also received support from the Michigan Economic Development Corporation, and I'd also like to thank Representative Daly because he was involved in that component of the project. The state has what's called the Michigan Business Development Fund, and they don't use it very often. They use it for very high-profile projects that make a large economic impact in Michigan. And that was approved primarily because Vlasic Foods is a legacy company to Michigan, and the importance of having them stay here and grow here was very important. For those of you that don't know, they employ about 249 full-time employees, but they also employ 300 seasonal employees. And this project meant they were going to create 29 additional full-time jobs and several hundred more seasonal jobs. So we're thrilled that they chose Imlay City, and they are going to be locating and growing in our community. Some of the things that we're working on is industry clusters, including machinery and equipment manufacturers. I touched on food processing and transportation, distribution, and logistics facilities. We're in the process right now of coming up with a community economic development strategy, which is something that you need to have in place in order to leverage funding from the Economic Development Administration. Some of the things that we're doing in 2013 are additional conferences and trade shows. We have 2 Meet the Buyer events. One of them we had in June in Shiawassee County, where we had 13 buyers there and probably 50 or 60 sellers. I don't know if you've heard of the Meet the Buyer concept, but that's something that is being introduced to try to help businesses sell within the state of Michigan. Our event in September is going to be in Port Huron for Lapeer and St. Clair counties. And right now we have TACOM and General Dynamics Land Systems have committed, and we're working with the community colleges, the hospitals, and some large manufacturers and municipalities in the 2 counties for that summit. And we have a bi-national summit in October with some of the economic development entities in Ontario, and our regional summit is going to be in September this year, and that's going to be in Flint again. So this has been a great project for Lapeer County. I'm very honored to be part of it. And if you want to get more information, there's a website. It's I-69internationaltradecorridor.com. Or if you'd like to learn more about Lapeer Development Corporation, our website is lapeerdevelopment.com. Thank you.
Our next guest speaker is Kevin Daly, our state representative. He's going to tell us about what's going on in Michigan.
Thank you, Cindy. Let me just put a few notes together. I thought I was only supposed to speak for 10 minutes, so I hope I've got enough to cover. Because it looks like you've got me down for 20 minutes. So, Nita asked me if I would come today and kind of give an update of what's going on legislatively and maybe recently in Lansing. So what I'd like to start out with is tell you what the committees I'm involved with representing you in Lapeer County. I serve on 4 committees. I'm chair of the Agriculture Committee in the state, and that's due to my background. I also serve on the Local Government Committee, which covers local government issues, pretty obvious. Transportation Committee, that's pretty obvious what that covers. And this last term, those 3 committees I've served on for quite some time, but this last term I was put on the Education Committee. So I'm going to kind of go through on what's going on in each of those committees, starting out with the Agriculture Committee that I serve as chair of. We've done a lot of things in the last 6 months as far as repealing laws, or the last year about, there's a lot of antiquated laws in this state that are still on the books that needed to be reformed. The governor's plan is to get rid of those old laws. If we're always creating new laws. We've got all these old laws on the books, laws from the 1800s sometimes, in the early 1900s that are still there, that are being ignored. So we went through and redid a lot of those, repealed a lot of those laws. We've gone over, like weights and measures, this agricultural issue. We've gone completely over the weights and measures law and reformed and repealed that. Some of the parts of that. We've gone over the grain dealers laws in the Ag Committee, food law. Some of the big issues we've taken up, I myself worked on a water dispute resolution bill in the Ag Committee. In previous years, what we've got happening in agriculture in our state as it grows is we have a lot of irrigation systems going in around the state. This last summer, we had a drought. It would have been a year ago now. No drought this year by any means. Some drought issues came up in the Thumb and Tuscola County in particular, where some of the wells, a couple of different farmers, large farmers, put up new irrigation pivots, which caused the water table to go down, which caused some residents in the area to could have caused some residents to lose their water system. So there was some concern from those residents as to how they correct that problem. In the past in Michigan, there had been a law in place, a dispute resolution, where if a resident had a concern about a well affecting their water, they could go to the Department of Environmental Quality and they would go through a dispute resolution process. Well, that was only used about 20 times back in the early 90s, and under the previous administration, under the Granholm administration, they didn't want to keep that program because there was a problem with allocating money for it each year, so they dissolved the program about 4 or 5 years ago. Well, then this last year, the issue came up again up in the Thumb. A couple of different farmers put in irrigation pivots, and then some of the people in the area lost their water. Whether that was due to the pumping of the water out or not was yet to be seen, because there was no process to go through. The farmer that was involved up there actually purchased a lot of wells for people just to be a good neighbor and do the right thing. But it isn't really fair to that farmer if there's not true science involved. So what we did is we worked on this law again, put it back in place again. It's only for agricultural wells. So what happens if there's an agricultural well that goes down, if there's disputes and the residents have a problem, then they can go to the Department of Ag, file a complaint or a form, and then they will bring all the agricultural drawers of water together, and they'll go scientifically and look at how the the cone of depression from the water is going down, if it really did affect these wells, and come to a conclusion. So that was a really important thing for the people, especially in the areas that lose their well. Another thing that we've been working on, and that is the horse racing. Well, I don't know if there's any horse racers in here or not, but the horse racing industry in our state has been put in pretty big disarray since the casinos came into the state. And so we've been trying to come up with some way to help that industry get through. The governor's been working with us heavily on that. The legislature passed a law last year to allow what's called an instant racing machine at the horse racing tracks. Instant racing machines are not the old one-armed bandit machines we're talking about. It's a case where you would actually be bidding on historical races. So you come into a racetrack and you would be able to go up. Is anybody in here a horse racer? There's a few. I one way back there in the back. But if you go into a racetrack and you bid on a race that's going on there, you could, in this case, have a machine. So in between races, you could go up to this machine and you could tell the machine you wanted to bid on you wanted to look at a race, and they would bring up a historical race out of 200,000 races. You would not know what this race is, and then you would bid on that race the same way you would on a race that's happening live. And it was a way to try to help those racetracks and that industry create some more funds and compete against the casinos. The governor unfortunately vetoed that bill because he was concerned about the state law that we passed a few years ago about the expansion of gambling. And so now they're working with us to look at other ways that we can help those racehorse industries move on. And then in the local government committee, one other thing I want to mention on ag while I'm there is the importance, and Patricia mentioned a little about the I-69 corridor. Something that's going on that's real important to agriculture, I think, is the Carrignandi water supply system. If you've heard of that, that's a new water supply that's being worked on to run across through it's southern Sanilac County, through Lapeer County, into Genesee County. The idea and the goal here is to get us out of the Detroit water system. Detroit water system being a system that's in bad shape, and we've been paying a tremendous amount of money in the areas that use that water in Lapeer County and Genesee County for a long time. So the process is in place. They had a groundbreaking a couple weeks ago. What this will do is bring raw water out of Lake Huron across, and I think this could be a huge thing for us in Lapeer County when it comes to agriculture. As Patricia was talking about Pinnacle Foods. Pinnacle Foods, one of their biggest problems over there is water use. They use a lot of water. And we've got huge possibilities in our state when it comes to agriculture and processing, especially in Lapeer County as well. And we could bring more of those processing facilities, but they need raw water. They don't need processed water. So the idea would be that hopefully this raw water comes through, that we could encourage more, along with the I-69 corridor, more development along this area when it comes to raw or to processing of facilities. We shouldn't be, in my position in agriculture, we should be processing all that we produce in our state. Lapeer County, agriculture is still the largest economic factor in Lapeer County. Over $70 million in Lapeer County is strictly from agriculture. And so soybeans is a perfect example. Soybeans, a lot of soybeans are grown in the Thumb and in Lapeer County. There's only one soybean processing plant in the state of Michigan, and that's on the other side of the state. We ship the majority of our soybeans out of our state to be processed. Let's process them here. Let's send out a finished product out so we can create more money for our local government and create jobs here as well. Local government committee, mostly what we've been working on recently is issues with public notices, publication of public notices. As you know, the municipalities have to publish, for instance, a large cost involved for publishing tax notices and stuff in the papers. We've been trying to look at different ways to allow those notices to be published. With the internet coming around, a lot of people think that we should do away with that requirement for newspaper publishing. Unfortunately, and we know that in Lapeer County, everybody doesn't have good internet access. We were just having that discussion at breakfast here, that a lot of us still don't have access to high-speed internet or internet at all, and there's still a segment of our society that doesn't even want to touch the internet anyway, mostly the senior citizens. So we've had some discussion about that and looked at some avenues. If a newspaper is not available to a certain area, to allow that to be published on the internet or some other way that it can be published instead of, what do you do if you don't have a newspaper available in your area? And some areas of the state of Michigan do not have newspapers available to publish these notices. Another thing that we worked on, which was an interesting one, this is an old law that ought to be interesting to a lot of folks. That right now, in the state of Michigan, there's a law requiring the sheriff to locate and kill any unlicensed dog in the state of Michigan. So if you've got an unlicensed dog, the law actually says that the sheriff is supposed to locate that unlicensed dog and kill that unlicensed dog. So we did pass legislation and clean that up. I don't know for sure if that's gone through the Senate yet or not. Transportation, of course, is a big issue to everybody here. We all drive on the roads, and we all know our roads are rough, and we all know that we need to fund those roads, but I don't find too many people calling me up or knocking on my door and saying, raise our taxes so that we can fix our roads. I got really disgusted just a week ago when I was coming back from Lansing, and I actually took some pictures of it. I was traveling across 69 and started to realize that they're replacing all the posts and all the signs all the way from, I believe it's from Swartz Creek to Port Huron, over $3 million being spent to replace signs. If you remember, they just rebuilt 69 between Lapeer and Davison, less than 2 years ago, put all new signs in. Those signs are now being replaced already. It just absolutely irritates me that we're spending $3 million to replace signs that were just put in 2 years ago. And so many of these posts have been replaced, but there's a process in place that every so many years they replace the signs. There's so many reforms like that need to take place to save money. When my first couple of years that I was going to Lansing, I was driving through Swartz Creek, and I don't know how many of you travel that way, but there's a rest area in Swartz Creek. And I watched them dismantle that rest area, tear it down, grind it up, put it in a huge pile. They ground up every curb and gutter and sidewalk and everything. The whole building was tore down. They rebuilt it at about $3 million in cost. Rebuilt it in the same spot. And a few months later, I happened to have a meeting with one of the governmental relation guys from MDOT, and I questioned that fact. Why are we spending $3 million to rebuild rest areas? And that's not the only one. They're doing a process throughout the state. And he said, well, that rest area had met its lifespan. I said, oh, really? When was it built? Well, it's 30 years old, he said. I said, that's interesting. The house I live in is the new house on the farm, and that's 30 years old. The old farmhouse is 130 years old, and we're still using it. Common sense would tell you you renovate and you fix and you repair. You don't tear it down and start out new, except in government. So his next answer to my question was, well, now that facility is green. And so it now has waterless urinals, and it has water-saving toilets in there and all this stuff. So it's a green facility. And then I've learned since then that those urinals are very, very expensive to maintain. So we're paying more money to maintain that facility as well. So then he even had a third reason, and his third reason was for safety issues. And he said that the the trucks were having to park. There wasn't enough parking space, so the trucks were having to park on the entrance and exit ramps. And I've seen that before, and that doesn't look very safe, but my common sense said to me, geez, wouldn't you make the parking lot a little bit bigger? But, I mean, they built it on the same place. But that's the type of things that that irritate me. Another one that bothers me that I also saw when I traveled back and forth, and for those of you that have seen the cable guardrails along the sides of these expressways, and I understand the reasoning for it. We've had testimony in our committees about it. It's a safety issue, and on some expressways, you know, if a car or a truck does happen to go across the median and hit somebody head on, you can save lives. But I know from past experience, we're not going to save everybody's life in this world. There's no way we can do it. And the cost of putting those guardrails up has been a tremendous cost. And then what irritated me more than anything is the first time that guardrail was finished from Swartz Creek to Perry, and I believe that's about 23 miles. The first storm, ice storm that I traveled that, one storm, the people had hit that guardrail and knocked posts down. If you follow those, there's a post. Every other post is on the opposite side of that guardrail. I've seen that personally where that just rips your car. It's like a shredder, like a cheese grater. It just tears your car up as you hit it. And I've had other people tell me, I haven't personally seen it, that it does have a tendency to defray cars back out into the traffic as well. But I talked to them about that as well, and you know, their response is it saves lives and it's federal funds that are coming in for those safety issues. But common sense again tells me that let's plant some shrubs down in that area to slow the cars down if they're going to hit them. I could slide. My biggest fear is that if I slide off that road on ice, I could go into the median, I could get pulled back out and drive my car home. Not only have we got an expense for the state of Michigan to fix all those things when they get hit, but look what it does to your cars. So look what that does to our car insurance as we move forward. So those are the type of reforms that we've been working on, trying to get straightened up to save money. But when it actually comes to the issues we've been talking about, you know, a lot of people don't understand how taxes works on gas. We actually pay sales tax, 6% sales tax on our gas. You don't realize it, but you're paying that 6%. It's in that, figured into that price that's up there on the board when you're going to buy your gas. Well, that 6% sales tax, as the price goes up, obviously brings a lot more money in the state of Michigan. But that 6% sales tax is what is not earmarked to go back to roads. So when you hear the statement that we're paying the most taxes on our fuel in the state of Michigan than any other state, that's true, but that's not all going back to roads. That 6% sales tax is going back into the general fund. It's not earmarked for roads. So we need to figure out a way to use the money we've got there in a more proper way. And that 6%, the actual tax that goes on your gas that you're buying, the 19 cents per gallon, hasn't been changed in, I believe it's 9 or 10 years. There's been no increase. So that doesn't go up with inflation or anything. That always stays the same. So the total dollars that are coming in for our roads have not increased. So what we were talking about doing, what the governor wanted to do, was go to a wholesale tax, take the sales tax off the gasoline and go to a wholesale tax. The issue comes into play there then at that 6% sales tax, 4% of that is earmarked for schools. So it creates a huge funding loss for our schools, so we have to come up with a new way to fund those schools. And nobody in the legislature that I know of wants to take that money away from the schools. We want to keep that funding there, so we're trying to look at different ways to provide that funding. And that way go to a flat wholesale tax, or a percentage wholesale tax, which would be included in the tax or in the sale of the tax at the wholesale level, and then that tax would be able to increase a little bit as the price of fuel went up or inflation went up. Then in the Education Committee, which, as I mentioned, this is my first term on that committee, and my last term in the legislature, as a matter of fact, in the House of Representatives. One of the most recent things we worked on was the ability to dissolve school districts. We've got 2 school districts in our state that won't be able to open this fall because they don't have enough funding. And that was, there was a lot of mismanagement going on in those school districts, one being in Bona Vista. Probably heard about Bona Vista. Schools actually had to shut down. There were situations there where they were actually accepting money from the state for programs that they weren't running. Very poorly run operation. So what we needed to do was come up with a plan that those school districts could be dissolved. The other one is Inkster, by the way. Inkster is not going to be able to open in the fall. So we had to come up with a plan to somehow allow those districts to be dissolved into the surrounding area districts, which becomes a little difficult. And again, both of these districts are from low-income areas. A lot of that plays into it as well. It was a difficult decision to be made, but we didn't. One of the problems that came down, it was very bipartisan. Both sides of the aisle were working hard on this thing together, but at the last minute, it became a very partisan issue because they tried to require that the new school districts that were taking over these districts would be required to hire the existing personnel who were at that district first before they took the best person. So we couldn't see the requirements adding to a district that's willing to take over a district like that being required to pay that difference. A few other issues real quickly. Performance pay for teachers. We did pass a law that says you can't base, I don't believe this is through the Senate as of yet, I think it's being looked at in the Senate right now, you cannot base the pay solely on seniority and degrees. I think it's important that I mean, my wife's a school teacher and I want her to be paid for her job that she's doing. I'd like her to be paid that way. So we did pass that through the House. We did cover merit curriculum, which allows the use of more curriculum flexibility for VOTEC centers, EdTech centers, those type of things in the state. Common Core is another big issue that we're discussing right now. Committees are going on right now. We had one committee hearing in the education. I still have got a lot to learn about that. And she's telling me my time is just about to run out. And I'm just going to take just a minute to one issue that I worked hard on that I'm going to push a little bit here in Lapeer County right now before I go, and that's gift of life. I try to mention this at every issue I go to. 2.5 years ago, my wife and I lost our son, and after that happened, I've been a real advocate for gift of life in the state of Michigan. Gift of Life was pushing for a license plate in our state to raise funds for promotion of Gift of Life program. We put together a Gift of Life plate. I wanted to bring that out to you folks here today. It costs you, I think it's $35 when you purchase your plate. I think it's only 10 or 15 more if you're renewing your plate anyway. And they surprised me after we got the legislation passed with this particular bill. My colleagues were good enough to amend that bill on the House floor and name the fund that this goes to, the Thomas Daly Gift of Life Fund. So the money is actually a state fund that's going into that. We have to sell 2,000 plates in the first year. The first year is up next month, and we're getting close to that number. So if I can encourage you to go out and buy some plates, we'd really appreciate that. We had the very fortunate deal just this last 2 weeks of meeting the recipient of my son's heart. We told her he's got a heart of gold. She's a beautiful young lady, 23 years old now. She was 21 years old when she received his heart. This young lady has been through a lot in her life. She had her first heart transplant when she was 9 years old. This is actually her second heart, but she's doing very well now at 23 years old, and it just brings a different picture to it when you find somebody that's been able to have their life saved because of your losses. So I just wanted to get a real quick plug in for that license plate. So if you can find it in your heart to purchase that, we would greatly appreciate it. And I think my time is up. And thank you for having me here today.
Good morning. I would like to thank the Chamber for inviting me to attend this morning's Wake Up Lapeer breakfast. And I would like to thank Kevin Daly for his years of service as our state representative, Judge Higgins, Byron Conchu, Ray Davis, and joining us this morning is Ed Smith, way in the back of the room with Congresswoman Miller's office. We are proud as Republicans to have 6 of our 7 county commissioners elected as Republicans and many other local leaders. The Lapeer County Republicans Party's mission is to elect Republican candidates, increase the membership of the Republican Party, and to educate and inform all Lapeer County voters. Obviously, we were disappointed in the 2012 election. However, in the state, we did very well. So we need to reassess our plan, obviously. One of my main passions and our main goals this year is to reach out to youth in the county. In May, we had 3 Lapeer County youth that ran for youth chair. It was very exciting. We actually had an election. So Matt Coons of Dryden was elected as our youth chair, and we elected Youth Vice Chairs, Jessica Butler of Lapeer and Brendan Miller of North Branch. We will continue to reach out to our Lapeer County youth. They were going to plan a car wash this Saturday to raise funds to help support what they wanted to do in the events and to share their message. However, we have postponed that car wash, and they will join the car wash fundraiser for the young man, Austin Greenleaf, that was in a motor vehicle accident last weekend. So we didn't want to compete with that, and so that car wash will be at Lapeer West on Saturday. We held our first ever women's tea in May, which was very successful, and we'll be doing that again. We'll be participating in the Blueberry Festival, the Eastern Michigan Fair, Lapeer Days, Metamora Days, Woods and Waters, and walking in the parades. If you are interested in volunteering, please go to our website, www.lapeergop.net. And also, please save the date, as our annual Lincoln Day dinner will be Saturday, March 29th, 2014, at the Lapeer Country Club. It's a great event to meet and talk with your local and state elected officials, and next year's an election year, so we'll have candidates there. As Republicans, we believe in limited government, the Constitution, and fiscal responsibility. We would love to have you join us by becoming a member for $35 to champion the conservative cause and help elect Republican candidates. We have a meeting tonight at Mayfield Township Hall at 7 o'clock. They are the third Thursday of every month. Again, thank you for inviting me to be here with you this morning, and please visit our website for more information. Thank you.
Member Focus is Tim Erickson. He's with Milnes Auto Group.
Thank you very much. Very grateful for the opportunity to do the member focus. Saw that come across the email blast a couple weeks ago, and I said, I'm going to take advantage of that. So, Milnes Auto Group is making some great strides. Of course, we're growing and expanding, just added a third dealership recently. We're looking to impact our community more in a greater way. Blake, again, I don't know if you recall, took over the GM position at Milnes Ford just at the beginning of the year, and he's really trying to redirect our focus on community. So he's looking at opportunities to have a greater impact here in Lapeer and bring more business from the surrounding communities into Lapeer County and into Lapeer, the town of Lapeer specifically. We have a lot of great things at the dealership here in Lapeer, and I was talking to my parts manager yesterday, and he wanted me to offer you the opportunity to get involved in his matching program on the tires. So if you need new tires, come to where you have certified mechanics also that can put them on your vehicle. He'll match any prices on the tires that you can get anywhere else. We want to make sure we're doing as good as or better than everyone else. Also, my auto body shop, we have the only Ford certified auto body shop in Lapeer County. And these guys do a great job. They're very proud of their work and very careful to make sure you're taken care of. Jeff, my auto body shop manager, gave me these. You could put in your glove box. You can put your registration in it, your proof of insurance. Easy to find, bright red folder. If you want one, I have enough for everyone. Please visit the auto body shop and give him an opportunity to take care of your paint needs on your vehicle and your repair needs. Also, we have an owner advantage program that we want to make sure everyone is involved in and everyone is aware of. For the owner advantage program, just for enrolling in it, you get $10 towards your next service or parts investment, and 5% of every purchase goes back into that, kind of like a Kroger membership or a Discover card, where you get some of that money back for your next investment. One other thing I want to make sure I mentioned is we have a $50 referral program. We've mentioned it here for the chamber before. Anytime you purchase a vehicle from Milnes Auto Group, we will give back a $50 check to the chamber. Just make sure you see me. My desk is the first one on the right when you enter the front of the showroom. Please give us an opportunity to take good care of you and provide you with your next vehicle purchase.
Thank you, Tim. Our next sponsor, forgive me if I mispronounce it, Haibu, Yellow Book, Dave D. Smith. Oh, good. Thank you.
All right. So here is Haibu. We were formerly Yellow Book, started in 1930, but we've kind of evolved with the times that are going on. So we've added a lot more products to our arsenal to help small and medium-sized businesses market themselves. And one is the Lapeer County, our Lapeer Life magazine. Goes out to about 5,000 homes right here around Lapeer, and we target kind of a niche product. It's a niche household home value that we go to. And we're looking for a lot of community supporters. We need more help on stories, local events, anything that's going on in the community. We want to know about it so we can put it into our magazine. And you can email Sharon directly at lapeer@haibu.com, and she will gladly take on your support and put in any photos or anything that's going on in the community that we want to talk about. So then we get into email marketing. You can upload your stuff. We have a do-it-yourself website called haibubusiness.com, so you can go to that, check out some stuff. We have some free trials for your business to kind of see which ones really are customized to your business and make more sense. Online display ads, I'm sure you've seen this if you shop Amazon.com. They follow you around the web, wherever you go, trying to get you back to their site. We do that as well for you guys. It's very cost affordable, and it's kind of creative advertising like a billboard, but it's all over the web on top sites that people are looking at every day. Then we get into search engine marketing and search engine optimization. Right now with our search engine marketing, we are a premier partner with Google. We're one of 17 companies in the whole US that are a premier partner. We have a 96% renewal rate month over month out of the 50,000 campaigns we have live right now nationwide. So if you're looking to get into this field, please contact us. We can give you a free evaluation, see if it makes sense for your business to market in that spot. We do websites, e-commerce sites. We have 1 to 10 page sites that start about $3 a day. Online stores that are do-it-yourself stores that you can go to the haibubusiness.com and upload that as well. We do direct marketing from postcards to mailers around the communities. Obviously, we have the Yellow Book print directory. It's still live. You can just look at, AM radio is still kicking with, satellite and internet radio is still out there. AM radio is still there. And we're the only Lapeer County book that covers all of Lapeer County. Then you have yellowbook.com. We are a top 50 site in America. And the last thing we've just added to our arsenal is Haibu Pay. So it's a mobile pay system that you can just hook in a toggle to your phone, swipe your credit card. It takes credit cards, debit cards, and even just check depositing right in your bank account. So if you want some more information, here's our contact information. My name's Dave, and I have Terry Barkhouse here as well. We cover all of Lapeer County, so we're here to help any of your business needs. Thanks.
Thank you, Dave. Okay, our nonprofit is Melissa Jaskowitz.
Yes.
I knew it before I got up here. She's with Michigan Honey Festival.
Okay, if you go to our website, it's michiganhoneyfestival.org. This weekend we're having the first ever mead cup. It's not open to the public. We're judging mead, which is a honey wine, wine made from honey. There is now 16 meaderies in the state of Michigan. It's a new thing coming up. And we've got 10, I believe, entered into it. We've got 81 entries, 61 amateurs, and 20 commercial meaderies. And then next week we have a dining trail. Please visit these places. The first restaurant that has agreed to participate and buy local honey and make something at the restaurant with the local honey is Hazel Park Raceway. At the clubhouse, they're going to have something on Monday. Tuesday is the Black Horse Tavern in Clio. Wednesday is the Junction Hope in Chesaning. What that restaurant is, it's the only restaurant in the nation that takes special people and trains them in restaurants. And so they're doing something with honey. They're very excited. And then on Thursday is High Street. Saturday is the Honey Festival. We are going to be having a People's Choice on Saturday for the mead. And then we just have so much going on, and I'm just so excited. And one of the nice things that has happened this week is I talked to a lady. She said she came to the festival last year. She said she thought she'd only stay for an hour, and she ended up staying all day because we have that much going on. And this year we're adding to it. We have music. We have some Irish dancers coming. We have lots of things for tastings besides the mead. We have food. We have anything and everything to do with bees. And I do want to say that Kevin Daly has done a lot for the horse racing industry. I had to get out of the industry because there isn't a lot of money in it anymore. The #1 bee plant is clover, and racehorses live on alfalfa and clover. So it's very important. Horse racing is too, but they support the bees. And I do love my bees and I love my honey. But if you have any questions, I'll be available, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Jan. Now for the fun part, right? This is the easy part. Our 50-50. Everybody has their tickets, and I'm going to shake them up really well. Our number is 491-731. 731? All right, all right. Jack is our winner today. Okay, now let's have our drawings. What do we have available?
We have a flashlight from Blue Water Printing.
Blue Water Printing, keychain and flashlight goes to Kathy Logan from Hair Etc. Yay, good.
Thank you.
Our next one is from Lapeer County Republican Party, $25 Meyer gift certificate. And that goes to Kat. Kat, I can't say your last name. Okay. From Hair Etc. Our next gift, what do we have? The High Boudoir Prize. It's a free advertisement. That goes to Connie Lackery from Mott Community College. Hair Etc. has a $40 skin service that includes facial, pedicure, nails, and waxing, just for you men. Or the women in your life. That goes to Missy's Maids, Ray Molaski. Ray, maybe you can sell that afterward if you're not interested, but... Oh, there you go.
I'd say they'll have fun with him.
Our next one. Good for her.
Bear Graphics.
Bear Graphics has 250 free business cards. That goes to Kim Beebe from Goodwill Industries.
Hat and a flashlight.
And this is from Tim Erickson from Ford Milnes. And we have a Ford hat. My husband would love this. With a keychain flashlight. That goes to Kevin Daly.